Hey y'all, David Madaffari here with Rum in Real Estate, and today we're going to do a quick, short video just describing what the market looks like and what mortgage rates are doing comparatively to May of this year to today. It's been a while since we used the whiteboard, and I figured with all the mortgage math that's on buyers' brains today that this may be a good opportunity to illustrate just what is real, what is not, and what the actual numbers look like, and they might be shocked to find out that it's not nearly as bad as it seems. Today's rum, of course, won't be sipping too much, but we're having Chairman's Reserve, the Forgotten Casks. This is an absolute delight of a rum, and I did a separate video on it just because it has such a fascinating story, and it has risen to be one of my top fives for this year. So do yourself a favor, after you get educated here, run over, check out that video, and then run to Hocus Pocus Liquors and go get yourself some of this because it is just dynamite. All right, so the market, the perception right now is that the market's just falling off a cliff, and buyers are really struggling with the fact that rates have risen so much since earlier this year. And, and they tell us that it's too high. Well, that might be historically inaccurate. I know a lot of people have heard that too, but I have linked one of my blogs down below that I wrote in 2019 when the interest rates were 5.5%, about when my dad purchased our house in 1982, and the crazy interest rates and just how he put that deal together was just nuts. So point of that being, today it ain't that bad, and I'm going to show you what it looks like today versus May of just this year. So we're going to work with a $300,000 house, and back in May, if you had a $300,000 house, that was the floor. That was where the bidding started because the inventory was so low. We had so many buyers in the market. So that house could easily been bid up to $325,000 for the contract. Now, for these examples, we're going to use a 5% down payment, standard conventional loan, and 5% of $325,000. I've already calculated it in my mind, and I put it on a piece of paper here. Now, at that time, I remember doing a couple deals where the interest rate was around 4.5 to 4 3/4. So I'm going to work with 4.5% on this deal right here. So in May, you would have a contract for $325,000, a down payment of $16,250, and an interest rate of 4.5%. Your actual principal and interest on your mortgage note for this house would be $1,564.39. Now, I'm not worrying about the taxes and insurance because that fluctuates with the home, but this is where the interest rate affects your deal. So we're just sticking with what the interest rate's doing to your note on the principal and interest basis. So in May 2022, if you had this price of a house, this is what your note would be, $1,564 and some change. Now, let's go to today. There's a lot less buyers in the market. Houses are starting to stay on the market a little longer, and we're starting to get negotiating again. The sellers that are selling are finding themselves they have to be in the market, so they're more willing to negotiate. So in this example, same house, $300,000, but let's say now, due to market conditions, this house has now got a contract negotiated down to $270,000. You may say, Dave, that's nuts. Who's giving up $30,000 on a house? I can say I just closed one last week where we got $35,000 off the price of the house. It's happening, and buyers are having a little more leverage in this market, maybe because of the perception that we talked about. But this is where the numbers actually kind of work for you. So at $270,000 contract, your down payment is going to be less. At 5%, your down payment is only $13,500. So right here, you're already starting to save about $2,750 in down payment. If you want to keep it, you could put it towards the house. But right there, you're saving a little bit of money and it's staying in your pocket. Now, today's interest rate, I just locked someone in today at 6.5%. So we're going to use this number here. So we're talking between May and today, the interest rates have gone up 2%, but we're getting more opportunities to negotiate on the deal. Your principal and interest on this loan is $1,621.25. Yes, my handwriting's terrible. So what does this mean? You could buy the same house. Let me stand over here. You can buy the same house 2 different times of the year, 2 different interest rates, and the difference in their mortgage is only about $56 per month. On an annual basis, that's $682. So I'll say this is $56 a month. Annually, it is $682, roughly. I can't even write. I'm going to do this again. $682 annually. So what is my point here? Is that the perception is that everything is too expensive. But with the right approach, with the right lender, with the right mortgage company, getting the right program, getting the right agent who knows how to negotiate certain deals, you could buy that same house and it's not going to cost you $3,000 more a year, $4,000 more a year, or cost you more in down payment assistance or out of your own pocket. It's going to cost you $682 a year. Is it more than it was in May? Absolutely. But the numbers aren't nearly as bad as the perception in this market is. And that's kind of my point, is if you save $2,750 here, it's going to cost you $682 more annually. That money is in your pocket longer. You can invest it. You can spend it on whatever. The point is, if you find yourself comfortable here and you are comfortable here, don't not buy the house because of the interest rate is not as good as it was a couple years ago. You have to look at the math. And right here, the math says on an annual basis, buying that same house, negotiated at a great price, is actually not much different than if you had bought it back in May. Now that you know how the principal and interest are affected by the interest rate, there's a couple other things that also need to be considered when trying to figure out your full mortgage payment and the full cost of owning that home. The first thing is, because your purchase price is less here, you will be paying less on your property taxes because that property will be assessed at the purchase price that you bought the home. So while you may have spent a little more here, you will also have spent your bottom line that's going to be added here, your taxes, is going to be higher as well. Also consider your insurance. Your homeowner's insurance, while it can be affected by a lot of things like roof age, appliances, location, they start with the value of the home and what your replacement value is. So if this value is a little lower, you got a great deal on a house, you will find that your homeowner's insurance is also going to be lower. And while I can't really show you how those numbers would work here without actual quotes or homes, specific houses, you can easily see that the difference, because only $56 difference between the two of these, these might even out at the end of the day. And again, at worst, you may still have $2,750 in your pocket. So now that we've seen how all these numbers work, what's the moral of the story? The story is, if you're approved for a home and you like a home, find out what these numbers are and then know your limit and then go for it. Do not let the market, the media, and just the idea of interest rates were so cheap earlier this year and that they seem so high now stop you from making the deal. Because as I've shown you here, it could be a wash in the end if you structure your deal properly. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys learned a little bit something today. Again, this is Chairman's Reserve, the Forgotten Casks. Check out the video that I've just done for this rum and find out why it's become one of my favorites. Thank y'all and have a great weekend.